to another episode of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I'm Ray Carso in beautiful Los Angeles, California, in the middle of a heat wave. Doing my best for the entire world over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Lee Elias. Lee, how are you doing today?
Heat wave. How hot is it in Los Angeles?
It was 80 today, and it will be in the high 80s the rest of the week in February.
That's a heat wave in February. Yeah, that's
in February. In February.
Yeah, it's been in 20s here, but I like the 20s, Ray. I like cold weather, but you know that. So it's doing okay here. My son won a hockey tournament over the weekend. His my team won the York Avalanche Express tournament, outdoor rink, which means lots of cold games as a coach, but I had a great time with it. So congratulations to Logan and his team, the Havford Hawks. And I'm excited about the show tonight. A rare Monday episode. Doing it today. Again, if you're looking at it, kind of should date these because the Super Bowl is coming up. Monday, February 7th, 2022, episode 142. Ray and Lee live on Geeks Like Sport. Ray, basically this show is going to consist of Star Wars and Super Bowl and sprinkling a little, wrestling and other football news, but it's a juicy one. And Ray, I'm kind of pumped up for the episode tonight because I got something to say.
I know you do. Yeah, we're going to do what we did last week. Wrestling will probably be our pivot topic. We do have a little bit of video game news, little bit of other sports, a little baseball, a little hockey, but like Lee said, primarily going to be Star Wars and football.
Yeah, we'll get to the Olympics in the future. There's not much to talk about there yet.
No, not yet. Yeah. Although I think
there you go.
The American women's team absolutely decimated the Russian team yesterday, which was great.
Right, and then Canada did it, and then they're playing tonight. USA Canada tonight after the stream. Believe it or not, like 11:30.
Well, there you go. Those are probably the two favorites again for the women's hockey tournament for the Olympics. So that's so there's your little bit of Olympic talk. But like Lee said, we'll get into that more as the weeks continue.
It's a little early. They just started.
Yes, they did just kick off. But yeah, and we just kicked off. So yeah, we got a great show. We're live here on Twitch. Thank you for joining us here on Twitch. Feel free to comment and chat. We'll try to obviously bring you into the show. If you're listening after the fact, we appreciate it just as much. Be sure to, of course, leave comments and 5-star reviews wherever you listen to us, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts, all our stuff. We love to talk with you. Again, also join the Facebook group, the Twitter, the Instagram. We're everywhere. We are inevitable. We are Geeks Who Like Sports. But we are kicking things off with Star Wars. So we got a lot to talk about with the Book of Boba Fett episode 6. Some folks were complaining it's another Mandalorian episode. Screw you. It was a terrific episode. It was an amazing episode. There was a lot of this is great moments, and then there was one, oh my god, I can't believe they did this moment. I mean, it's kind of hard to start off. Should we just we should just list the cameos?
Don't go there. I got those.
Okay, Lee, I will let you take it away, Sir Star Wars.
Right. Here's what we're gonna do. First thing you should do is note this: that Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right? No, 5 p.m. Pacific. Ray and I will be doing a double Streamlounge.io watch along of episode 6 and 7 of the Manda Boba Fett, and we're going to watch that. You can get our full thoughts on the episodes. I'm going to start this off. I'm not going to even do a recap, Ray. I'm just going to dive right into it. Yeah. I've been saying for weeks, I've been trying to take the high road on these so-called Star Wars fans that are just criticizing every episode. There wasn't enough Boba Fett in episode 5. This guy doesn't look. I'm going to try and hold this together because I don't think I'm going to take the high road anymore, Ray. I think I'm going to call these people out because I'm kind of tired of it. You have the football rants. You have the sports rants. I have the geek rants. I claim that for myself. All right. You all need to shut the hell up before you ruin this for all of us. You're complaining for literally no reason. If you are still complaining about anything going on within that Star Wars universe, you are complaining because you have been trained to complain. It's not even about Star Wars. You are just an a-hole, and you're complaining to freaking complain because you're a miserable, non-geek, fake Star Wars fan. Let me show you why, Ray. Let me show you why. Episode 5 was Return of the Mandalorian. Unbelievable episode. Felt great. People, Boba Fett wasn't in. Didn't care. Ray, I'm like, how are they going to top that? We talked about how are they going to top that episode 5. Well, Ray, I've got a card here with how they topped it in order. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 things to top it, Ray. And the Mandalorian isn't even one of them. All right.
Yeah.
They gave us one thing, maybe 2 if you want to count the Darksaber. They did 8 this week. 8. And you still complained. You idiots. Let's go through the holy poop moments from this week. Starts off, Cobb Vanth. Awesome to see him again.
Yes.
Not the biggest cameo in the world, but someone you want to see. Boba Fett's on Tatooine. Mandalorian's on Tatooine. We know the Marshal's there. He's awesome. Great way to start the episode, which is
which the title of the episode, by the way, is
Right.
the title. Yeah, from the desert comes a stranger.
Right.
Is the title of the episode. And
wanna talk
for
about
many of us, when
brilliant
this show started off,
Right.
we thought they were talking about Cobb Vanth.
Right. And why would you not? Because he's the really man that came out of the desert, right? Great cameo. People going already from the start. Hey, the Mandalorian character. He's a Star Wars character. You idiots. Number 2. Where do we go from there, Ray? How can you top this? Oh, I know. Let's just drop my childhood in front of me again. Here's R2D2. And he's awesome. He's happy to see everybody. He's doing the whistle.
On what we believe to be Yavin 4.
It's Yavin 4. It's Yavin 4 for the purposes of this show. Right? So what do? They drop R2. And I remember thinking in that moment, oh man, if they don't give us Luke, I'm okay with that, Ray, because R2 is here. And R2 makes literally everything better, right? And then they pan out Mandalorian's there. Oh, the Mandalorian. And I'm not listing him because we know he's in the show already. Mandalorian's there. And then what do? Star Wars wipe. It's Luke freaking Skywalker with a deep fake looking better than literally any CGI face I have ever seen. Ever. Even Luke in The Mandalorian. It's a gift. They gave you a gift of Luke in his prime with a face that doesn't look like this. It looks really good. Luke Skywalker. That's number 3. Oh, by the way, Ray, who's with Luke? Grogu. Grogu is with Luke from The Mandalorian. Another one. You got such a Cobb Vanth. R2D2, Luke, Grogu. I would have been fine with that. I would have been fine with that. Right? Didn't stop there. That's not this half of them. Half of them. Next thing we have, what do we get? Luke goes, hey, you want to see Order 66? You want to see Clone Troopers? Here, we're back in the Star Wars Jedi Temple. Order 66. Here you go, fans. Watch these clone troopers killing some Jedi. You know Anakin's in the building.
Yeah.
From Grogu's point of view, that was pretty cool.
Planting the seed of now who rescued Grogu.
Right. Then we come out, right? I'm fine. I'm already emotionally full from this episode. Where do we go from there, Ray? Ahsoka freaking Tano just happens to be hanging out with Luke Skywalker on Yavin freaking 4 with the Mandalorian. This is some crap from playing with toys when we're kids, right? And then, that would have been here's Yoda's lightsaber. I haven't even got to the biggest reveal yet.
Yep. The real stranger in the desert.
I was fine with R2D2.
Yeah.
And then after a full episode of Luke, I'm thinking, they can't keep showing Luke. Luke's in this episode for at least half the episode, and he's awesome. And then they give you little parts of it where Ahsoka's like, just like your father. And Luke's like, you're a jerk. And I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Right? Talking about that. How did those two meet? Ahsoka leaves the planet. I guess we'll find out about that in Ahsoka. Then we cut back to Tatooine. We get a little glimpse of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I was fine with. By the way, it's Boba Fett.
Yeah.
How easily you forget it's freaking Boba Fett. How awesome is that?
Yeah, who's now acting as a mob boss, getting ready for this Pike War.
And then we go back to Cobb, and there's things going on. There's an annoying deputy. And then we look in the desert. And in the desert, there's a man with a hat walking towards us.
An unmistakable hat.
And if you know anything about Star Wars, you know who this is. And both
immediately
had the same reaction. We go, good, ready, together, 3, 2, 1. Good God!
It's Bane! It's Bane! Oh God, it's Bane! It's Bane!
Cad Bane. So now Cad Bane, who's probably one of the greatest bounty hunters of all time.
Yeah.
Not even in the expanded universe anymore. He's in Clone Wars. He's in Rebels. He's in everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's the one bounty hunter not scared to take on Jedis.
Right. He comes out. He shoots Cobb. He destroys his deputy. He calls Boba Fett a cold-blooded killer who works for the Empire. And then he walks off into the distance. Tatooine belongs to the Syndicate.
Yeah.
Into the sunset. End of episode. It's beautiful, right? The whole thing is beautiful.
Well, actually, the very end of the episode, there was a choice setting up the last episode.
Yes, you're right. Yes. Then he gives him he does the Sith thing and gives him an absolute of you be a Jedi or you be a Mandalorian. We'll get into that in a moment, right?
Yeah.
It's he probably could, but that's not the
point.
He
could, but
it
Luke's
ends,
not giving an option.
On a classic television high of tune in next week to Star Wars Boba Fett to find out what Grogu does. Okay, beautiful episode. I left feeling like I was 14 years old again. I felt great. felt great. I'm looking around my room. There's no one in the room with me. And I'm looking around like, did you see that? I have to act with myself. I did see that. Did you see that? Nobody else. Like, talking to myself. Right? Go online. I'm like, I can't wait to share this moment with other Star Wars fans. I go online. I'm like, I can't wait to talk about this with other Star Wars. Well, Cad Bane's face didn't look like it did in the Clone Wars.
It should have been a deeper blue, and it should have been thinner.
I redid the face to look more like the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Well, Boba Fett wasn't really in the episode. When are they going to get back to the Boba Fett?
It was so obvious the Luke deep fake. Like, it was so bad.
Why did Luke give an absolute? Only a Sith deals an absolute.
Yeah.
Let me tell you guys something. This is why I said, you idiots, you're gonna ruin this for all of us. Let me tell you why the show's called Book of Boba Fett. Because they didn't want you to know what they were doing, you idiots. They couldn't call it Boba Fett and his amazing friends. They couldn't do that because you would know. They couldn't call it The Mandalorian Season 3 because you'd know. They couldn't call it Luke and Ahsoka and Grogu. It was a diversion. Classic Disney, Marvel, Star Wars move, you morons, to give us the Star Wars universe that we have always wanted. And you're worried about Cad Bane's CGI appearance in live action? Why? Why? Dank Ferrick, you morons!
Now I know why people like my rant so much, because it's how much I'm enjoying yours.
Dude, I don't, like I said, I always expect a little of it. It's like so much, and I don't get it. And I'm telling you this again, I'm going to sound a little old here. You can just tell so many of these people did not have to live through that 20-year period, Ray, where no one liked Star Wars, but people like you and me, we got our butts kicked in school for it. We were called losers. And I hate saying this because I'm one of those people where Star Wars is for everyone. I am not saying this, it's mine and you don't understand. What I'm saying is you obviously just didn't live through that time period if you think this is bad or you're being critical. I'm going to say what I said at the top again. If you are hating on this, if you are critical of this, if you're complaining, you're just doing it to complain because you have been taught to do that. And it's ridiculous. That episode was a gift. I don't even care what happens in the next episode. This was a gift. They topped Luke in the last episode of Mandalorian 2. My God. What are you complaining about? Shut up and enjoy what they're building. They are building a Star Wars verse in Disney Plus for us.
Yeah.
Shut up, enjoy the show, or stop watching, because I don't want to hear it anymore. Nothing gets to me, Ray. Sports, you can talk to me. You can call me an idiot. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about hockey. All this stuff, none of it gets me. Right off the show. Woo, woo. Coming after Star Wars? You want to come after Star Wars with me? No. So that's my rant. Okay, episode was great. I'm not going to tell you what happened in the episode. We'll talk about the final decision. Go watch it. If you have a complaint, shut up or come at me, and I will come back at you with the force of the Darksaber. And trust me, I know how to channel my energy through that dark blade to slice your freaking head off. This concludes our broadcast day. Slow clap. I can hear it.
I'm so proud right now.
I learned from the best, Ray.
Yeah. Good.
Let the egg flow through. I mean, I didn't even get to some of like the theories about this. I'm not going to.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing. I mean, is like
unbelievable.
The idea. I mean, look, I do want to touch on that a little bit. Obviously, now the idea is that it was Cad Bane who killed the Tusken Raiders and killed Boba's clan tribe there, which would make actually a ton of sense, because for those of you who don't know, although it was cut from Clone Wars, it is canonically, I think, considered true that Cad Bane he lost to Boba, but he's the one who gave Boba the dent in his helmet. That they fought during the Clone Wars period when he was still a young Boba. There's a lot of bad blood there.
Yes.
They do not get along whatsoever. Even though Cad and I think Jango did, at least for a time, obviously a lot happened. Go watch Clone Wars. But
wait. The other thing too is the last time we saw Cad Bane, who was he chasing?
Omega.
Yeah, Boba Fett's sister.
Yeah.
Sister, you have a twin sister.
Yeah.
If you will not turn to the bounty hunters, perhaps she will.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Confirming again also that Cad always finds a way to survive. Still trudging along now.
Older too. He's older. He's 30 years older.
Yeah, he's older. Yeah. And by the way, that could be part of the reason why maybe his skin isn't as blue as it was in Clone Wars.
Well, that,
or
and he's on
because
Tatooine.
that was a cartoon. Yeah,
He's
exactly. There's
Tatooine.
100 different reasons. Like,
what's funny is there's people online actually justifying the way they did animate him, because if you look at Dooku in the Clone Wars, his face is elongated. But I'm like, I don't even feel the need to justify this to you people.
Yeah.
Just shut up and enjoy the show.
Yeah.
My God. I mean, this has got to be one of the biggest geek years in history over the last just 4 or 5 months. And you're complaining. You have got to be kidding me. Man, you got to be a little more gracious than that. You really do. This is how the golden age of geek dies, by the way, Ray, with stuff like this.
Yes.
This will kill it.
The opposite to thunderous applause.
That's
but
not a deep cut. I like it.
Thank you. Like you said, in 6 weeks we're getting Moon Knight. Supposedly the Obi-Wan series is the next thing that's going to drop after that in May. Those rumors
Andor.
start getting
It's
Obi-Wan or Andor.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors of both.
I'm not going to complain. Either way, I'm happy. Like, it just doesn't, And
then of course again, and then the end of the episode, which is to me kind of a little. I think I know what's going to happen.
I think
my prediction.
I think you're right.
Is that Grogu is going, basically Mando, when he visited Luke's new temple, we saw the construction of the Jedi temple on Yavin, by the way. That's another little thing that's a pretty big freaking deal there. Or at least the beginnings of it. Mando leaves the chainmail armor that we saw in episode 5 that we suspected was going to be chainmail armor for Grogu. And then Luke gives Grogu a choice because he could feel the conflict in Grogu about wanting to go back to Mando. Is that he either offers him Yoda's lightsaber to train with, or he offers him the armor and he would take him back to the Mandalorian. I think Grogu's going to choose the armor. And then at the end of episode 7 of this series is what's going to happen is that the Pikes are going to take the advantage in this all-out battle that we know is coming, because that was also set up here. We skimmed over the fact that the club that we all loved with Jennifer Beals gets blown up and all this other stuff, like classic mobs. We have, this is a mix of The Godfather and like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. This classic Western meets classic mob movie now, and like you've got this sense that I think that the Pikes will take the advantage. As soon as they do, Luke's going to come in with his X-Wing, wipe the floor with a bunch of them, basically kind of broker a piece or whatever, and then Grogu will go back to Mando. So, so I think that's my prediction. That's what's going to happen, I think, in episode 7. So we'll find out about 36 hours.
To the Mandalorian season 3. Again, I give
be all
Disney,
about the Darksaber.
I give them so much credit. This name of the show was a diversion. And you guys are still falling for it. You're still falling for it. It's Star Wars. That's what I said to Ray this morning. It's not just Boba Fett. This is Star Wars. In fact, they were smart enough not even to put Star Wars on the title, Ray. It's not Star Wars Book of Boba Fett. So, like I said, this is a gift. This is a total gift. Yeah. All right. I don't think we're going to see another Boba Fett show, right? I just think these are going to weave into each other. I did have one prediction I called you about. It's not a prediction. It was more of kind of a thought, right? That I said the only thing they haven't really done yet in these shows, actually, no one's done it. No one's done this well since I guess Rise of Skywalker. Now I'm thinking about it, but we haven't seen a Force Ghost yet, and I think at some point they're going to have to introduce that into these shows. That's the only thing they have left. That's the only thing they have left.
If we don't see one here, I think we're definitely going to see one in Ahsoka at the very least.
Totally. Yeah.
Maybe Obi-Wan, but. I mean, that would be great. Could you imagine if Liam Neeson came back as
100% believe we're going to see. 100% we're going to see some in Obi-Wan. All right, Ahsoka too. I think also with Ahsoka being on Yavin 4, I would not be surprised if her show starts showing us how she found Luke. Like that. That was a huge question mark of like, well, how did she find him? How does she know him? So something's that. How long has she known him? Maybe she's known him a lot longer than we realize. But yeah, look, this was just brilliant. It was brilliant. And I don't understand. I mean, what people want if this wasn't good enough for them, so I'm gonna say it again. A fantastic ending, cliffhanger, right? Like that's how an episode should end. You want to come back. You don't want to wait, right? Again, we're spoiled. We're spoiled with binge watching. We're spoiled with Marvel and what they're doing. But I'm just so thankful for every episode. I mean, like, they gave us a Naboo Starfighter the week before. I'm not going to go through all the like this season of Boba Fett has had more Easter eggs than anything I've ever seen, ever. I don't think there's anything I've seen that had more Easter eggs than this series, right? The only thing is, I mean, it's just a little bit past Star Wars season, right? So I'm not complaining about that. Anyway, look, if you want to watch episode 6 and 7 with us again, I'm going to say it again. Check us out on streamlaunch.io this Friday night, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We're going to watch both episodes with live commentary. Enjoy it with us. If you love Star Wars, you'll love watching with us. Same thing with Marvel and all the shows we do. So check us out on there. It's a fun little platform our buddy made, and that we're trying to help him grow. So anyway, right.
Yes.
I mean, I got to give that episode almost a 9, if not, the last 2 episodes have gotten strong 9s from me.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%. Completely agree. At least the 9.
And these people, like, again, you bitched about Boba Fett the first 4 episodes. Now you're bitching he's not in it.
Yeah. Yep. Well, now here's the thing. If you keep on complaining, they're going to pull the plug.
This is literally how this age ends, because you're going to make this stuff horrible. You're going to make it passe. And listen, I trust Filoni and Favreau. Problem is, the next person and the next person, they might start bowing to these ridiculous things that people are saying.
Yep.
And that's how it ends. All right. So just please be quiet and make sure we can enjoy this as long as we possibly can. Just the CGI, that's your complaint.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
oh boy.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess an opinion is an opinion, but boy, oh boy, you sure do sound uneducated when you have an opinion like that.
Yeah.
So speaking of possibly having things having their plug pulled, Google, this was broke a couple of days ago, and it's not surprising considering their numbers and whatnot. And that we've talked about this, is that it's not easy being the first person through the wall. And that also the country doesn't have the infrastructure yet for something of this. But the idea is that Google is going to start to sunset Google Stadia, which of course is their video game streaming service where you could stream all the major titles, all the AAA games right to your console or to your computer. And it sounds like that they're losing money on it. No surprise. And so they're going to start to sunset it. And yeah, I mean, look, this is, I think, something that they knew, I mean, for those who haven't ever heard of Google Fiber, right? This is something that they tried to do before they hit a snag in Kentucky with a lawsuit there from AT&T. But part of the reason why Google was trying to spread fiber optics further around the country is they knew the infrastructure wasn't in the country. And so a lot of the folks, not only are there slow adopters, even where there is internet strong enough for Google Stadia, but 90% of the country doesn't have the infrastructure for it. So it was one of those things where they might have been a little too quick to try and cross that finish line. And they will supposedly now they are going to try to help other services with their technology. And I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years it becomes the norm, but it just probably, possibly powered by Google.
Right.
But you're not going to see Google Stadia they are the first casualty in the streaming wars, but I'm sure they will not be the last. But their sacrifice will, much like the 3DO and the Lynx and the Jaguar and a lot of those early systems, those early 3D systems and disk drives, and one that before the PlayStation 1 came along, it will not be forgotten, at least by guys like me. So
yeah, look, it's a great quote. The first one through the wall always gets themselves bloodied, but it's important in the name of progress. And look, it's actually very rare that the first person through succeeds. Right. I was surprised when they were trying to be the one that pushed through. I never thought of Google as a gaming frontier. But it's interesting, right? That they paved the way, as you said, and they're not gone, right? They're too big. So Alphabet is obviously the parent.
Oh yeah, I mean Google's gonna be fine. It's just that that right now they know this is too much of a losing venture.
Right. So, well, good night to Stadia.
Yeah, good night Stadia, and that leads us into our next topic, which is good night Shane McMahon. This was a crazy story. Basically, that WWE is supposedly, and we haven't gotten the details, but this isn't the first time where they've supposedly cut ties with Shane. Depending on how much cocaine he's on or whatever backstage or anything like that. That's not true. That's unsubstantiated. It's unsubstantiated rumor. But if you've seen what Shane McMahon does,
you heard him.
You also, Unsubstantiated rumors. But he was let go by at the very least, his talent contract was terminated, but supposedly he's been let go by WWE, which is now only fanning the flames more about WWE preparing to sell, that they are going to be on the chopping block, that they are going to be, or they are on the market, that they are looking for a buyer, whether it's Disney or Universal or Fox, what's left of Fox Sports, I should say. But yeah, they are on the move, possibly getting rid of Vince getting rid of his own son's contract. Not like Shane McMahon's hurting for money, but also, there was also supposedly a lot of feathers ruffled after he put himself, supposedly he's the one who put himself into the Royal Rumble, that he was the one who was booking it or helping to produce that match. And then he was basically like, you know what? I'm coming in at number 28. And that's what happened. And supposedly we talked about this. I did a rant last week about how bad the Royal Rumble was. Supposedly internally, a lot of people feel actually the same way. And that's part of the reason why Shane's head had to roll, because it was one of the worst Royal Rumbles ever, if not the worst ever. So bye, Shane McMahon.
Ray.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when Shane goes to AEW and this was all a pawn to have the McMahon family infiltrate AEW? My God, that's Jason Bourne. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. Shane's going to AEW.
Well, you know what's crazy? And I really don't think it can happen, but supposedly this has been this. Some folks are rumoring it because it just happened. AEW has already announced that they have made a massive free agent signing who will debut this Wednesday, February the 9th on AEW Dynamite. I actually did a Twitter poll on my personal Twitter because I know some folks are saying it might be Shane. I do not think in a million years it's going to be Shane McMahon, but I did give that other option. I think it's either going to be Keith Lee. I think it's going to be Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. Or
I think it's going to be one of the Wyatt family members, whether that's the Bray, Big Red, Eric Rowan, or Braun Strowman. I don't know, but those, I think if I had to put money on, I think it's going to be, I think it's either going to be one of those five, but there is another option for a reason I put on my Twitter poll. I would love to know what people think here in chat, or if you go to my Twitter, I would love to know what you think there. Who is going through the forbidden door next for AEW? And is this just another sign about how behind the times WWE is right now?
I don't have any comments on that. That was just so well put. Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out. I mean, look, it's an interesting time in wrestling. It still is. I feel like the battle has cooled off a little bit, but the war is still raging.
Yes. It's a bit of a cold war again, right?
Yeah,
now.
I feel you know what it is, man. This is how AEW is. If your enemy's making mistakes, don't interrupt them. That's
exactly
what's happening right now.
Exactly. Tony Khan is sitting back and just like, let them keep doing this.
Right.
I'll sign a guy here. I'll keep signing a guy there. And not to say AEW hasn't terminated a few contracts the past 6 months as well, but those made a lot more sense. WWE let go of a quarter of its roster.
How long before they bring in The Rock, Ray? How long before they go on their hands and knees to Dwayne Johnson and say, please help us?
I think that they've already approached him and he's either turned them down or he's waiting for WrestleMania.
Right. Because here's the thing. I cannot see Dwayne Johnson abandoning WWE.
Yeah.
Just because he's got so many ties to it. But
yeah.
The WWE playbook with this is pretty, standard, which is go back to the biggest stars in history and bring them back.
Yeah. It's makes me sick actually, because it makes no sense. They brought Goldberg back for the Elimination Chamber.
Yay.
He just showed up on Friday night. It's like, really? 60-year-old Goldberg? Really?
Oldberg.
Yeah. Oldberg. Yeah.
So like I said, look, I expect to see within the next 6 months, The Undertaker, The Rock, maybe even Shawn Michaels. I don't even Austin. I wouldn't be surprised.
They brought Lita back for the women's division. I mean,
yay.
Listen,
like that's their playbook, and I don't like it. I developed new talent, but here's the thing.
Yep.
To their credit, Ray, it's a desperation move that typically does pay off.
At least in the short term.
Yeah. If it gets attention for enough time, what they should do is bring those guys back. Like seriously, bring back Austin, Michaels, Undertaker, and I mean you can't get The Rock for more than a minute, but bring back a few of these stars and have them cultivate a young star and make that the storyline.
Well, that's the thing well, I mean, and they were doing that behind the scenes. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, they were working with guys. And obviously Triple H got hurt. He had his, what we suspect was a heart attack. He had he had to go to the hospital. We don't know what the specific cause was. He was sick for a while. It did not sound like it was COVID. It sounded like it was something else. And Shawn Michaels, and then quietly, a lot of these old guys got let go, got replaced, got moved around. And you can see it. It's even the people that they let go from the crew, right? Like you watch a WWE show now and like the cameramen are in the wrong position. They're cutting to the wrong angle so you can see the wrestlers talking to each other about what they're going to do next in the ring. That used to be covered up. I mean, the wrestler can cover it up a lot, but like when you got a camera right in their face, it's clear as day, right? Like you can tell every aspect of WWE right now is suffering. It's not just the roster. And that's the worrying thing, is that especially if they're looking to sell to a Universal or a Fox or a Disney, is that you're going to put more people who don't know wrestling into positions of power in a company that really needs to get back to its roots right now in a lot of ways.
Right. And you know what, Ray? I wonder, I think about this, and I don't talk about it every week when we talk about wrestling. I really wonder, we might never get an answer to this, how much money Vince put into the XFL before COVID hit. And because I'll tell you this right now, that could have been a devastating blow to that company. Now, by no fault of their own. Okay. But if he put $1 billion, which is probably what it would cost to start that, you know, people say not, but if he put hundreds of $1 million into starting that league, and then COVID hits and he lost that, because the Rock bought it for what, like 12 million?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a massive loss, loss. I would not be surprised if that financially really crippled WWE to the point. And then remember, no live shows for almost.
Well, I was going to say it was probably the one. It could have been the 1-2 punch.
That's what I'm saying. No live shows, no cash coming in for a year.
Yeah.
Right. And really, you know, subpar stuff. And Undertaker retired. You know, like the winter came. Again, they're not dead. They're not close to being dead or anything like that. But from a business standpoint, I wonder, like, timing's everything. Timing is everything. You lose that much money and then have no gate coming in. They're probably operating at a massive loss right now.
Yeah, and that also hurts merchandise because people buy stuff at the shows. Right. Like it hurts every aspect.
Let me put it this way: every live show is a minimum of $1 million profit, minimum. Okay. So you think about this, they're doing what, 4 live shows a week, three a week. I mean, what happens when you're not making $3 to $5 million every week?
Yeah.
Every week. I mean, what happens?
Yeah. I'll tell you you can only survive that so long.
Talent.
Yeah.
You start cutting your payroll. Right.
Yeah. So, and you start talking about selling.
Right. So again, it'll be interesting to see where they go. I hope Disney buys it so that we can see Boba Fett versus Mandalorian in the ring.
I mean, we already have Sasha Banks in the Mandalorian.
Right.
So
I would love to see Masters of Terras Kasi come to life. Then none of these fights would make sense. It's Luke versus Anakin Skywalker. That's not possible. Good. Complain about it.
Yeah. Goodness. We got some comments here.
Doesn't look right. He shouldn't be wrestling. How is Jabba in there? 5 guys in a suit. How are they doing that?
Yeah.
That's a slobber knocker, literally.
Yes. Andrew mentions his Leafs just won. Yeah, the hockey schedule is real weird. The Rangers don't play after the All-Star break until next Tuesday against the Bruins. They have a 15-day layoff.
Did you hear that joke about the greatest rivalry in hockey, Ray?
No, what's that? The Leafs in the first round.
Leafs versus the first round. Greatest rivalry in hockey. Yeah, it used to be Detroit, Colorado for many years. That fizzled off. And
Rangers, Devils. Now it's the Leafs in the first round.
Listen, this is how I look at the Leafs. They are not great until they are. I said the same thing about the Capitals, to be fair to Leafs fans. I said the same thing about the Caps. I said the Caps, I'm not picking them to win the cup until they win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
I'm not picking the Leafs out of the first round until they get out of the first round.
No, that's completely fair. So, but
we are your year. This is the year.
we are moving into the sports section fully now, of course, as we move to as we use wrestling as our pivot point again this week. So we might as well just briefly pick up hockey before we get into football.
Sure, we can talk hockey about hockey. That's no worries.
We talk the All-Star game. Yeah, we got caught. We actually, it's funny. Canes and Leafs played tonight. We have Andrew, who is a Leafs fan. We have Cotter, who is a Canes fan. Leafs won in overtime. Sensei Solo here saying I have a nice Battlefront shirt on. For those of you who are seeing the video, I have a Star Wars Battlefront shirt on. The game was terrible. This was the second Battlefront.
This is perfect.
Not the original.
Perfect, real quick. You're wearing a Star Wars t-shirt. I had the Star Wars rant. I'm wearing a sports sweater, and it's just, and
I'll probably have a sports rant at some point.
This is brilliant. It makes perfect sense.
We will. And actually, we probably will because I have a rant tonight because we're going to talk about baseball too.
Well, actually, I have an unscripted, and it's my fault for not bringing it up, but I do have an unscripted topic that I'd like to talk to you about and get your feedback. And it's I'm not going to lie to you. It's not a happy topic for you, but I honestly want to know your thoughts on it. I'm not trying to poke and prod. So
is it baseball, football?
It's all sports. Do you want to do it now or do you want to do it later?
Okay, let's finish hockey.
All right, we'll finish hockey. We'll finish hockey.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. So, but yes, but also Sensei. Yes, poor Sensei's like I always miss the geek section. I know, buddy. We just wrapped up the geek section.
Watch the replay or listen to the podcast.
Gotta watch the replay. I will say this though: Battlefront, the one that EA made a few years ago, terrible, but a great T-shirt. I love this T-shirt.
I agree. Yeah, and Sensei Solo. And again, you can always listen to this podcast that comes out live on all podcast platforms, and you can always watch Ray's replay right when the show's over if you want.
Yes, exactly. As soon as we're done, obviously here on Twitch, it goes. The
Matt
replay
Cavalieri does this every morning in England the day after the show. Yes, that's his shout out today. We're not going to wait till the last minute, Matt. So if you do have to go to the bathroom or leave the computer for a moment, you can.
Yes. But the big story in hockey, there's two things. First off, it was All-Star weekend.
It was.
I have no idea what happened because I didn't watch a single
Claude
second.
Giroux, MVP of the All-Star game as the Metropolitan Division won and wept the floor with everybody there. Claude Giroux very much raising his trade value. Right before the trade deadline. I was just about to say that.
I'll also say I did see the press conference with Chris Kreider where Giroux basically said to him, he's like, I will put your butt on the bench if you're not around the goal, because obviously Chris Kreider probably even better than JVR in terms of deflecting goals this year. So that was fun. I did see that, but yes, there we go. Metropolitan Division. And like you said, I agree wholeheartedly.
We got one.
Yes.
No, it was actually a fun little All-Star weekend. The real big story was Trevor Zegras, who, just so everybody knows, rookie, going to win the Rookie of the Year. Very rare that you can say that at this point of the season.
Yeah.
But, for those of you who don't follow hockey, you've seen this guy. This is the guy that flipped the puck over the net early in the year to pass it. He did a Michigan goal. Ray, I'm sure you saw this highlight, but if you didn't, everybody listening, guy puts on a dodgeball outfit, blindfolds himself, comes in, does some Zorroing with the puck, and then shoots blind and scores. I'm not going to lie to you. I've never seen anything like that. It just really shows you how much the game has changed. Stuff like that was really frowned upon 15 years ago, but it's a skill game now. I think it's wonderful and brilliant. It set the world on fire. That move set the world on fire. Yeah. This kid's good for the game. The skill level to pull that off. Like I said, I'm not completely convinced he couldn't see through the blindfold, but it doesn't matter. It's like Star Wars.
Still impressive.
I can't do any of that stuff, and I'm okay at hockey. So just amazing stuff. But look, more positive buzz than normal for an NHL All Star game. They give $1 million to the winner, and those guys dedicate that money back to the training staff usually. So it's just pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was a good weekend overall for that. For the most part, there was one negative story since last we talked about with the NHL. Rocky Wirtz, who is the owner of the Blackhawks, is a scumbag and a moron. And basically the Blackhawks, obviously, folks, they're not a very good team. They had obviously all those all the scandal around the sexual harassment from 10 years ago. And so to try and clear the air, to try to get people to come back to the United Airlines Arena, the United Center in Chicago, to try and get some goodwill with their fans. They had an open house, a town hall meeting with the ownership and general manager, and Wirtz's son is there. I forget what his position specifically is. And of course, the topic came up from the press asking, You've committed yourselves to rectifying the mistake made 10 years ago. You're obviously trying to make sure something like this never happens again. What steps are you taking specifically to do this? And Rocky Wirtz basically said, it's none of your business what our steps are, which is not true at all. And the exact opposite reaction you want surrounding this when you're trying to make the game better and trying to fix a situation that you caused and that you could have prevented, where one of your players got sexually harassed. What is wrong with you, you dumb old man? Lee, your thoughts?
Yeah, talk about being out of touch. So out of touch that Wayne Gretzky actually commented on this. And Wayne Gretzky does not typically comment on controversial things. He came out and basically said, this was so well put. This is why he's the great one. He says, look, if I had a kid that was growing up and going in that organization, I'd want to know. Yeah. That's all he said. That was enough for me. Look, Rocky Wirtz, your ownership, you had your 10 years of glory. You sold your soul to the devil for it. The leadership prior to that time period was horrible. Chicago Blackhawks, last team in the league to actually black out home games to try and get people to come to the building. That's how bad they were. Numerous players talked about how horrible it was to play in Chicago. Then you guys have 10 years of glory, and it turns out that it's been destroyed. They are losing diehard fans right now, which is a dangerous place to be. So my suggestion, you need to find a way to get some dignity back and sell that team and get out of there. I hate saying this, right? But Wirtz family, your legacy is secure. Your name's on the cup. It's not going anywhere. Okay. And you did build and craft great hockey teams that won the Stanley Cup, albeit again, you sold your soul to the devil, but it doesn't, I don't want to take away from the players that actually won the cup. Right. Yeah. In terms of just athletic skill and winning. That's it. I'm not talking about morals right now. I don't want to take that away. It's kind of the same thing like Joe Paterno and the Lions champions, right? The players didn't do anything wrong. Okay. I mean, there's some gray area on that with this. Sell the team. Please free the Chicago Blackhawks from this literally imperial rule.
Yeah.
And let them be free because they're an original six franchise and they deserve better than this.
Yep.
Okay. And like I said, it's just disgusting. I know ownership is hard. I'm not denying that. Okay. Nobody understands what owners do. Nobody understands the sacrifices they make, but you sacrifice the wrong thing, which is your morals. Sell the team.
Yeah.
And get out of the NHL. And I have a feeling, Ray, the board of governors is going to kind of lean them that direction.
Is going to try and pressure them. Yeah. And the sad thing is also Rocky's son tried to cut his dad off and be like, well, we can talk about that. And his dad, Rocky, shut him down. He's like, no, we're not going to. Like the son did look like he tried to take some leadership there, and Rocky would
every
not.
Question was about that topic. They are sentenced to answer those questions.
Yes.
And that's the problem, is that they think they're above this, and that, you didn't read the room. Granted, look, the media takes these things and they make them way, way bigger probably than they should be, but this should be made big.
This should be a big thing.
Every question was about that. Your sentence is to answer every question. Yeah. Because there's a kid out there right now that's being abused, because it happens in all sports, and you are not stopping that from happening by making that okay.
Yeah. By not talking about it.
Guy, just sell the team, please. You have everything you need. Should have sold it after that last Stanley Cup. Really. Yeah. That's what Pittsburgh's doing. They're selling. Lemieux sold Pittsburgh. Let me tell you something. The Boston Red Sox organization bought the Penguins. That was dumb. You're about to lose your best two players of all time. You think that organization is going to take off? You're not getting another Crosby. I don't care. You are not getting. You've gotten blessed twice with two of the greatest players of all time. And I'm not even talking about Malkin. I'm talking about Lemieux and Crosby. That's not happening again.
And Yager.
That's a great point, Ray. Three of the best players of all time. I forgot my favorite player. I just don't think that's going to happen again there. I mean, you can say the same about Fleury, because a lot of great players came through Pittsburgh.
For sure.
You guys almost abandoned that team in 2004. You morons.
Yeah.
My hatred for you doesn't go to the Flyers. It's just, I don't know how. And my team sucks right now. I don't hear any Flyers fans abandoning ship.
Yeah.
We're not a lot of people going to games. I'll give you that. All right. That's what happens when you lose 13 in a row.
Yeah.
I don't hear anybody going, I'm going to switch to being a Pittsburgh fan. I have said, Ray, that if the Flyers trade Carter Hart, I'm going to have a hard time, because I don't think I could live with them trading another goalie away. But, Pittsburgh fans, man, you almost let that team go under. Ugh. You guys took a big sheets on your team. See what I did there?
Goodness. All right, so that does it for hockey. Lee, you said you had something that you wanted
I
to.
do, Ray, and I'm going to bring this topic up, and I want to preface this again. I'm really not trying to set you off. This is not for a rant. I want your honest thoughts on this. Yeah, and that is this. This is the first time in my lifetime this ever happened. That says a lot right there. But is for the New York sports teams have not won a championship in over 10 years. That happened, I think, last night or the night before was the 10-year mark since your last championship.
Since the Giants won Super Bowl 46. Yes.
So I'm honestly curious, again, not poking, just your thoughts on that, because I've never seen New York go that long. You guys are always expected to win, right? So what does this say about the city of New York, the New York sports, who have been through a lot, especially the last few years? Like, and really the most competitive team in New York right now is the Rangers.
Rangers. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, this is the longest drought of my life across the four major sports. Before this, it was the 2000 Yankees to the 2007 Giants, 2007, 2008 Giants.
Right.
Okay. Obviously, I mean, disappointing. I mean, for sure. Not happy about it. I think the toughest part has been, Andrew's complaining about
Toronto.
Not
true, Andrew. That's not true. You just won a basketball championship.
Yeah, you just won the NBA championship.
Yeah, it's not true. Ray, look. I'm asking this because and Ray knows this. I went 27 years without winning a thing. Okay, my recent champion happened in early 2018, so I'm actually not that far removed.
No, you've both Toronto and Philadelphia have won championships more recently than New York.
Right,
that is true. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's tough because it's not just tough because it sucks not winning. It sucks not being competitive. Yeah. And the Knicks have been terrible now for 2 decades with a couple of blips here or there. 1 year with Carmelo. Last year was a nice surprise, but the Knicks
would be the last real. That's
what I'm saying. It's been 2 decades plus since the Knicks were competitive. Obviously, the Rangers lost the cup in 2014, which is a heartbreaker, and then the team the window closed more quickly than we would have wanted it to, and then they dismantled the team. But we rebuilt the team also pretty quickly again as well. The Giants are a mess. They've been a mess for 6 years now. The Yankees are a mess. I don't care that we've made the playoffs the last few years. We haven't been to a World Series since 2009.
They're not scary. That's the thing that
the mystique is gone.
Yeah,
we are not the evil empire anymore.
When you guys got Garrett Cole, I was like, oh, here they come, and it just didn't happen. And it's like they just don't,
because we needed more than Garrett Cole,
right?
And they don't want to admit that.
And then Mets fans think they're scary, and they're just not. And then the Jets, and the Devils have been bad. I mean, really, actually, the Islanders have been okay compared. It's a weird time, right? Because growing up in New York was always the team to beat, and they're just not right now. They're just not in the hunt. In fact, somehow Tampa is that city now, or they were.
It's Tampa and LA every year.
Yeah,
it's Tampa and LA have become the biggest threats in a lot of sports, whether it's basketball or football or.
But yeah, I just got to say that because I'm trying to think of a 10-year period where New York won nothing, and I'm having a hard time doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
maybe in the 80s, but no, the Mets won.
No, because you still had the Giants. You had the Giants win 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I don't think this has ever happened in my lifetime.
And not in our lifetimes, and honestly, not in history.
Yeah,
never has New York City gone across all 4 sports without a championship for a full decade, and it has been now a full decade.
We have, like you said, just because this isn't just raised teams, right? We're talking Knicks, Nets, Rangers, Devils, Islanders, Giants, Jets, Yankees, Mets, right? That's the 8.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the Red Bull have won anything.
No, the Red Bull or the New York City Football Club.
Yeah.
The other team that
that's it really is incredible. I mean, that's happened. Now, I'll say it again. New York's had some tough years here over the last probably 5 or 6 years, really, to be fair. And I think that has a lot to do with it. But I like Ray, I wish I could gloat and like it's just not my style. You know that? I'm just kind of like, man, that something's wrong when the evil empire is not the evil empire. They're like the first order right now. And it's like, I feel like that guy, I feel like that guy in the Force Awakens is that no, he's just screaming, but nothing's happening.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, it's concerning. I mean, look, like you said, there's hope. I mean, look, if you're a Mets fan, if baseball happens this year, I'm not going to lie, you're hopeful as a Mets fan. You're more hopeful than as me as a Yankees fan. I'm not going to lie. I said it before. I said when the moves were made. Right now, the Mets should at least win the National League. If the Mets don't win the pennant this year, I'm not saying the World Series, but you don't win the pennant, this is a bust. This is another waste of a year for the Mets.
Yeah.
You have the two best pitchers arguably in baseball. You completely revamped your lineup. You literally went and got four of the biggest hitters in the game right now to set the table for your big boppers like Polar Bear Alonso and whatnot. Like you
no excuse. Yeah, they're building like the Yankees used to. I'm gonna say it again. If there's a season, obviously we'll get into that.
If there's a season, we'll get to that later.
Again, sorry to bring this up, Ray. I was curious. I saw that the other day and I was like, I didn't realize it was that long. I knew it was long, but I didn't realize it was, I thought about it. I was like, yeah, it's been that long.
Yeah, no, exactly. Again, the closest we got was the Rangers in 2014,
right?
Where we lost them 5 to the Kings. The Yankees of 2017 that got to the ALCS and lost in 7 to the Astros,
right? The
cheating scandal Astros. That's a big year. But yeah, aside from those two blips where we got close, that's about it. That's the best we've done.
Here's something I've never said before. Again, not poking, but it's like,
and the Mets went to the World Series too, but everybody knew the Mets weren't going to beat the Royals in 2015.
This is something that freaks me out. You ready for this one? There are 10-year-old kids who have never seen a New York sports team win. In fact, most of them were probably conceived the nights the Giants won.
That's fair.
It's freaky. Like I said, just to give context to this, I got some people ripping me in chat for my teams, and this is why I'm so untouchable with this. I was literally born after the Sixers won in 1983, and we didn't win again until 2009. I used to tell Ray I'm the living embodiment of the losing streak.
Yeah.
Right. And then we got 2 championships in 10 years. I'll take that. I would have taken the 1.
Funny enough, when I was born, a mini drought for New York ended.
Right.
In 80, because I was born in 85, and then the Giants won the 85-86 Super Bowl.
There you go.
So
amazing. Anyway, thank you for giving me some talk on that. That's something I would have talked to you about usually off the show, but I thought, yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, we've got time tonight. I think it is. I mean, look, it's again, as a Rangers fan, there's a lot more hope.
Rangers are really good. And I've said it again. I would not be surprised if the Rangers play the Vegas Golden Knights in the first round. I mean, I'm sorry, in the Stanley Cup final. I would not be surprised. Rangers are dangerous. And here's why they're really dangerous, guys.
Shesterkin.
Not just that. The Carolina is the only other team that I can say this about. They are having fun. They look like they're having a blast playing hockey. This is the type of team that could get into Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final with a tie score with 2 minutes left, flip a puck from the blue line, and have it tip off a goalie's skate and go into the net to win the Stanley Cup. That is the type of team that you're looking at right now. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Ray had one of the greatest highlights on his live stream that I have ever seen in my life. His Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final tie game. Was it Game 7 or game?
It was Game 4. It was Game 4.
It was the winning game. It was a clinching game of the Stanley Cup final. And he dumped it in NHL 22, glitched. And he had one of the greatest calls of NHL 22. One of the most broken games. That was the best call I've ever seen you make. You have to watch that. It is all over his TikTok, and I'm sure your Instagram and Twitter. Just check this out.
Yeah, it was if you were here last week, we won the cup with the Rangers, and it was Keandre Miller. I was killing off a power play, and I dumped it from the center ice line. I just chucked it down, and it happened to be on net, and it went right between the goalie's legs. And
amazing,
I'm just like,
that there's no code in the game that in that situation that goal can't happen.
That never happens. Yeah, like it just
your face and this, you gotta watch Ray's face. Like, oh my god. It's the dumbest thing.
Well, because it's also, I realized there was like 10 seconds. There was 15 seconds left. I'm like, that's it. That's the goal. I'm going to win the cup.
It was unbelievable that could happen. But like that, it makes the whole year's stream worth it just so you could say that
Yes.
call.
Yes.
Anyway, we got
and
fans.
yes, Cotter. Then Craig Smith hit an empty netter, but at that point, because the computer pulled the goalie, because might as well not have been there to begin with.
We got fans fighting in the chat, right? We got Carolina fans fighting with Toronto fans. It's hilarious.
Yes, this is great. This is great. I love it.
This is what we provide. This is what we provide. Anyway,
looking
go
forward.
ahead,
yes, but that's why we did hockey first, even though, of course, the big sports topic of the week, we kind of circumvented it a little bit, but we are going to talk now, of course, the Super Bowl. We are 6 days away. The time we have our next episode, we will have a Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl 56.
It's true.
We teased it last week. Well, I mean, I don't know who Lee is rooting for, but I think we both are going for the Rams that are going to win it. But I'm rooting for the Bengals because I hate Los Angeles. I'm
in the same boat. Actually, that's not true. I'm not. I like McVay. I like him as a coach. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I think that's the reason they're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to say that it seems like I say this every year. Look, if you get there, you deserve to be there. I look at a lot of different factors. I don't look at the matchups because I don't think matchups matter at this point. I think if you're there, you're there. You're going to be playing probably one of your best games because if you don't, you're losing it anyway.
Yeah.
I look at the why, right? I love the Bengals why of just underdog city.
And Harambe, right? They're saying they're doing this for Harambe.
Harambe, which is something that every player that age would do. Sticks out for Harambe. But the thing is that, and again, look, they very well could win. I really mean that if they play a perfect game. The thing is this: underdogs work when you're going up against a proven champion. Like, and again, I'm going to use it. The Eagles against the Patriots in 2018 was a great example. You had to go against the greatest quarterback of all time, one of the greatest teams of all time. You're a true underdog. The Rams are underdogs too. They haven't won in a long time. So in their own right. They have something to prove as well. And I just think that if McVay goes into this Super Bowl as a coach and didn't learn from the last one, I'd be shocked. Yeah. I just think they're a better team on paper. I think the home field advantage does play a small part of just familiarity. Right. They've already won. Well,
I mean, to be fair, there's no LA Rams fans in LA. So,
well, my point is that they've already won a playoff game there. Right. So it's like, yes, this is going to be a feel good situation for them. And the Bengals are going to have to rely on that underdog mentality. But honestly, Ray, I'm picking the Rams to win. I'm actually going to pick them to win by 2 scores.
Wow.
All right. Yep. That's my prediction. I will be happy with either team winning. I really mean that. Right. I somehow relate to McVay as a coach, and I love his dedication to the game, and I love how the guy is a genius. He's a football genius. All right? Yeah. I know a lot of people don't like him, but there's no denying that this guy's a genius, and I like people like that to win. I mean, the guy's dedicated his life, and not a shot at anybody on the Bengals. That's just how I see it crumbling. But I'm going to pick the Rams by 2 scores.
Yeah, I mean, I really think there's 2 big factors here. I think that the Bengals offensive line is not going to stand up that pass rush. I think Aaron Donald, Von Miller is looking Von Miller of old. I think that Burrow is going to have a hard time winning that game on his backside. To be fair, he did win the game against the Titans when he got sacked 9 times, which was a record.
This ain't the Titans.
I was going to say, this is Matthew Stafford is different from Ryan Tannehill. And again, this is one of those things where it's, you know what? They went out, they did the Yankee thing. They built a super team through trades and giving up all their picks for the next 4 years. And it's
they have to win. Yeah.
Exactly. Here's the thing. They mortgaged the franchise's future to win now.
Which will move again after the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Back to St. Louis. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. Yeah, they'll go back to St. Louis.
Hey, we're here.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's just one of those things where, it's they have to win this. They got Odell Beckham. They got Stafford. They got the best receiver in football right now in Cooper Kupp. They have a completely revamped defense. I mean, their defense was always great with Aaron Donald, and now they got Von Miller. Can the Bengals upset them? Can they surprise them? Can they do it for Harambe? I mean, God, I don't know if you saw it today, but there's Bengal fans shotgunning cans of chili. That's what they're doing to get ready for the Super Bowl. because I don't know. I guess Cincinnati's disgusting. But it's just, I mean, look,
no one,
I
don't ever remember thinking, let's go to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Ever.
Sorry, Cincy, but like, come on. Really?
People come to Philly for vacation.
Going to, okay. But yeah, so it just, but look, Burrow is going to be an elite quarterback. He is going to be a guy who, him and Jamar Chase, as long as they continue to stay healthy, they will be special. They do have some good pieces on defense. And to be fair, that defense has not played their best games yet, in my opinion, especially in the secondary. Could they do some interesting packages that, and let's be honest, Matthew Stafford has dodged a couple of bullets. There, he's thrown a couple of balls that should have been picked against the Bucks and against the Niners. If the Bengals make those picks, we could have ourselves a close game. But I think the Rams have too many weapons. I'm not going to say it's going to be a 2-score game, but I do think the Rams are going to win. But I hope I'm wrong, and I'm rooting for Cincinnati, mostly because I don't want LA to burn down again, because that always seems that like a huge section of the city burns down whenever any of the teams do anything out here, especially the Lakers. Maybe actually the fact that there's no Rams fans might actually play to our benefit this time. But yeah, so there you go. Sorry, Harambe. You will have to be exercised some other year.
He's already dead, Ray. Who cares about it? He's been dead for years.
I'm just amazed the storylines that are coming out of this to promote the Bengals. Chili, shotgunning Chili, and do it for Harambe. Come on.
Yeah, right. It's going to be interesting. Like, look, if this just to say this closing, it's been one of the best NFL playoffs I've ever seen, and I really hope this game ends on a game like that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That we get a second or third round game, not one of the first round games. Speaking of endings, Washington is no longer the Washington football team. That period of their history has come to an end. And they have come up with the most generic name that nobody wanted and nobody cared about. And that was confirmed and leaked by Joe Theismann several days before the announcement. Is it true? We mentioned this briefly last week, but it's now official. They are known as the Washington Commanders. Yay. Yeah, like, okay, guys.
Listen, this is how this goes. Everyone's going to hate it, then they're going to love it, then it'll settle somewhere in the middle. There's already been a lot of great jokes about what are they going to chant the game? Let's go commies, which makes no sense. My other one that I thought was funny was, okay, so you went from the Redskins to the guys that killed the Indians, which is like, that's a little harsh. Look, I am sure I speak for all of Washington football fans where it's like, there's the name. Now let's move on. Let's just go move on. That's what they want. It's not a horrible name. It's nothing special about it. I liked Armada better, but it's nothing special about it. It's fine. Let's just move on.
Yeah. Cotter mentions in chat that the Browns is the worst thing, but at least you know why they're called the Browns, right? They were founded by a guy named Paul Brown. And so it was Browns football team. That's why they were called the Browns. Like, I understand at least why that name stuck. It's not creative and it's not interesting.
It's not racist either.
That's also true.
Like, I've had people.
Dude's name was Paul Brown.
How could they do that? Oh God, guys. There's a reason nobody.
Dude's name was Paul Brown.
Yeah, it's Brown's team. They should have done Browns with an apostrophe. That would have been really clever and funny and stupid at the same time.
Yes.
Browns. What? It's Brown's team.
Yeah. Oh gosh. That's funny. That's funny. Which Julie just sent me something very, very funny, saying basically some people under deathbed are going to be like, I wish I argued about Star Wars online. Couple other things going around in the NFL. The Giants hired their first woman coach on the director of coaching operations. I believe her name's Laura Young, somebody who came down she's from Buffalo. So again, another one of those nepotism hires by Joe Shane. And then actually he went outside the organization and he hired the Eagles director of personnel as our new assistant general manager, Brandon Brown.
Yep.
So Brandon Brown now is the Giants assistant general manager to Joe Shane. So they're starting to fill in the gaps there, starting to put the staff together. The Giants are also now looking potentially for a new defensive coordinator. Patrick Graham Looked like he was going to leave the Giants after not getting the head coaching job, and then he was going to head to the Vegas Raiders. Now that might have fallen through. Now he might be going to the Vikings. Now he might stay with the Giants. I don't know. It's all in flux. The Giants are a mess. We've mentioned this before. Also, more interesting information came out about the lawsuit very briefly from Brian Flores, is that it seems that Flores was who the Giants are, at least John Mara, the Giants owner, wanted Brian Flores. And then it was Joe Shane, again, nepotism, wanted his guy from Buffalo in Brian Dable. And Mara, who had been responsible for the Giants' 3 previous head coaches, and you can understand why. Maybe that's why Mara was like, you know what, I'm over my last 3. Maybe I let the general manager make the pick. Maybe got a little gun shy there and didn't fight as hard for Flores as that situation continues to develop. And I said it last week, folks. I think the Giants and Broncos, I don't think they did anything wrong in this particular case. I mean, again, nepotism isn't right, but I don't think that they did what Brian Flores alleged. But if Brian Flores has some truth that the Miami owner tried to bribe him to throw games, the Miami owner might be in a lot of trouble if there's any proof there.
Like out of the game trouble, yeah.
Yeah. So there might be something to that as that situation develops. Stephen Ross, the integrity of the game could be on the line, trying to bribe your coach to throw games for a better draft pick. That could be an issue. That could be a real big issue. So we'll see what happens there. Also this weekend, the Pro Bowl happened. We mentioned the NHL All-Star game, All-Star weekend. The Pro Bowl happened. I never watched the Pro Bowl. I watched a quarter and a half because I wanted to see some of the new rules they were trying out. I don't know if you saw this, to get possibly a new overtime rule, which is where one team chooses where the ball is spotted, and then the other team chooses who gets the ball. So, like, if you choose, well, we're going to put the ball at the 1 yard line, and they're like, okay, cool, now you get the ball, right? Be like, well, I think we can stop you from going 99 yards. You're like, well, I'm going to put the ball at the 50.
Right.
Well, then, okay, then we're going to take the ball because we think we can go 50 yards. So it was an interesting idea, but the problem.
Yeah, we talked about that as an idea.
Yeah, they did try that in the game. The problem is that the Pro Bowl, they also tried out the rule, by the way, that instead of doing an onside kick, you can get 1 4th and 15 down from your own 25. And if you convert it, you keep the ball, which was interesting, but you need players to actually want to play. I don't know if anybody saw this. I retweeted what JJ Watt said. It was kind of a disgrace. He's seen more contact in some drills he has to do. It was 2-hand touch. Almost nobody got tackled the entire day. They were in full pads, but it was 2-hand touch, and the refs blew the whistle. Like I said, there's actually one very funny play where Mac Jones scrambled for the Patriots for the AFC, and somebody like arm tackled him, and the refs blew the whistle, but he just kept on running and he thought he scored a touchdown. He thought he scored a 70-yard touchdown, and the refs are like, no, we blew the whistle because we don't want anybody getting hurt. It was one of the worst displays of football I've ever seen. The NFL should be embarrassed. The players should be embarrassed. Vegas should be embarrassed. It makes me sick. But I think the new rules are great ideas, and I hope they implement them next year. Or at least in the preseason, where players might actually care and we can see if they really work or not.
The NFL has some changes to make for sure.
Yeah. So I think the AFC won. I didn't even care about the end of the game. Like I said, after a quarter, I turned it off because it was so boring. I might have fallen asleep. Anyway, we go now from football. Speaking of changes need to be made in football, we need changes in baseball.
Ugh.
What a disaster. A couple of weeks ago, I showed some optimism that as the talks continued to progress, or sounded like they were progressing. And of course, as always, baseball made me look like a moron, because just when I start to show a little bit of optimism, the owners and the MLBPA continue to act like giant freaking babies, billionaires fighting with millionaires. Basically, the owners have left the table. They said, we're not coming back with a counteroffer. The only thing they did come back and say is we will come back, but we want a federal moderator And then the union left the table saying, we don't want a moderator. I hate everyone affiliated with baseball right now. I hate every player, every owner, every manager, every coach, every fields crew. I hate you all. Get your heads out of your butts and figure this out. Stop acting like a bunch of babies, because you're not the ones who will suffer in April when there's no baseball. It'll be me when I have nothing to freaking watch on television. There's only so much wrestling and Star Wars I can deal with. I mean, I love them all, don't get me wrong, but I also like baseball to break it up.
Now, you know what, Ray? This is what I would say to you. There's other baseball out there to watch. That's number one. Number two is, I'm going to say it, Ray. This is the best thing that could happen to baseball. I mean that. I know it's painful, but here's the deal. I've been through this with my sport. I've been through it, and people rip my sport for years. This is the best thing that can happen to baseball. They need this stoppage. They need the players and the owners to get farther apart. This needs to happen. All right, for the sport to figure itself out, because it is not going the right direction. It's painful.
No.
It's horrible. I'm not rooting for it to be elongated, but I'm just saying this is probably the best thing that could happen.
Yeah, it's just very a hard pill to swallow, especially after, because 94 is still fresh in my mind.
Well, sure, but like I said, it has to happen, right? And like, look, there's a younger version of me that wants to throw it back in baseball fans' faces who ripped on hockey back in 2005. That stupid sport. You don't see this happening in baseball. I'm like, you just saw it happen in baseball.
Yeah, we just saw it 10 years ago.
But I think this is the best thing that can happen in baseball. Baseball is going the wrong direction. I won't watch it. This is the best.